Okay, welcome to day 2 of the 3-day challenge. Today we're talking about how to get into alignment. And when we talk about alignment, it's something that I know that word is often thrown around. But really what we're talking about is making sure that what it is, your vision, your values, and your obstacles, or your obstacles have been cleared out the way so that everything lines up and that there's nothing getting in the way of you actually moving forward. And you know when you're in that spot, because all of a sudden, not only does it become really enjoyable to actually start achieving your goals and you feel like, yep, this is done. It also, the other thing as well is that you'll start to notice that crazy opportunities just start coming your way. It's like you just become this magnet for all these, all this great stuff. Like all the right people just start showing up. And that's when you know that you're in this absolute sweet spot. So just a little bit more about that in a moment. First of all, a recap and the opportunity for those that are on the live call today to have your questions answered. So what, did you all get an opportunity to do last night's journaling exercise? Not only your vision, but the most important part of that is the vision beyond the vision, because that's what actually helps us to uncover some of the subconscious blocks before they even arise. Did anyone have an experience with that, or have any questions about that? Did you all get a chance to do it? Yeah, you did do it. Did you get some insights doing the vision beyond the vision? Yeah. Beck, what was? Do you mind if I unmute you? How was yours? Did you get some insights that you've never had before?
Yes, I did. So mine was very much vision with money and expanding the business and things, but actually realizing a lot of my blockages and self-sabotage was just from me just saying I don't have enough money to do these things. But then I had to look back at, well, what have I done with that same amount of money? I've achieved so much already.
You have.
But really also it's not actually I need more money. It's that I actually need to stop spending on silly things and actually spend on what is within my values. So it's actually a good purchase.
Brilliant. What a beautiful insight to have there. Yeah, and that's like I hear that obstacle come up all the time when people go, I don't have enough money. And I think realistically, when people actually look at what they spend money on, we always have money for things that are important to us. And that is certainly one of the values questions that in the mastermind program, we go through that in absolute detail. We used to do it on the challenge, but I decided to just focus on it in the mastermind because the part of the reason is that you guys were going away and doing it, and I feel like it is so important that it deserves one-on-one attention. That is something that we definitely do, and I know you and I, Beck, have done that one-on-one. So that's awesome. And also, just a quick congratulations. I mean, what you've achieved in the last couple of years has just been so inspiring. Like freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. So well done. Deb, what about you? How did you go? Because I know that you're a law of attraction expert. How did you find doing the vision beyond the vision? Did you find that that was insightful?
I found it really insightful. Even before sitting down to do it, I went out and I just felt this lightness come over me.
Yeah.
So I'm used to focusing on my next vision, but to actually go beyond that just turned that next step ahead. Rather than being so huge and significant, it was a lot smaller because my brain was focusing on the next one. So it was a really lovely shift to let that go and operate at that next level. So I really like that.
Yeah, beautiful. This process has been so, I mean, this is one of the newest manifesting techniques out there. So you guys, are having access to this this really is, I haven't seen very many people talking about this in this way because it is, it's definitely at the forefront. And like you said, that's exactly the experience that I've noticed with people that I've worked with that have done this, is that whatever your goal is that feels so big right now, all of a sudden it just brings it back into proportion. So you go,
Exactly.
Of course I can do that. And that is such a lovely spot to be in. And it takes so much fear away. So because today we're talking about the obstacles, getting into alignment, and that will have cleared away a big bunch of fear. So thank you for sharing that. And also, does anyone have any questions about what we covered yesterday? Was there anything that anyone needed? Yeah, Serena, what did you need to, what questions did you have for me?
I'm struggling with the expanded vision because my
Okay.
vision is already pretty big. So I'm like, how do I get to that next level?
Okay. So if your vision is big, does it kind of scare you a little bit right now?
Oh, totally. That's your fault for making big visions.
You are the perfect person to do this then. So what we want you to do is just spend some time after today's call just sitting there and just imagining that you're looking around your life right now and you have everything the way that you've planned. You're sitting in the office that you wanted, you've got the clients that you wanted, you've got the income. And I know that yours is very much business focused. You're getting all these opportunities. Now what? Now what's the next expanded vision beyond that? I mean, like, even world leaders don't stop when they've achieved their goal. I mean, like, when you look at people that are at the top of their game, once they've achieved their goal, they keep expanding and expanding and expanding. I mean, I love, they'll use Oprah as the example. I loved watching a documentary with her when she had this amazing TV show and had her own show on a network, and she said, well, I'm just going to create my own network. That was her vision beyond her vision, was just creating her own network. Now, of course, it didn't work out so well for her. I think it was possibly a little ahead of its time. But the vision beyond the vision will help put things back into perspective for you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping to get to.
Yeah. So
because I appreciate that's a really good way to get that vision manageable. Like, I completely understand that perspective.
Yeah. So
okay, all right, I'll give it a go.
The way of doing it. Spend some time on it today, and let us know how you go with that tomorrow. That would be really awesome to get your feedback. Yeah,
okay.
Great. Thank you. I'm just going to mute you because it's loud where you are. Okay, awesome. Okay, that's so good. I'm so pleased. And those that are on the replay, if you have any questions, post them up into the group. This is your window of opportunity to have access to me. Okay, whose phone's ringing? I'll just make sure that you're all muted. Okay. This is your window of opportunity where you have access to me. Okay. And at the end of this week, that will close. So for those that are interested, book a call with me. Like, I usually charge, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this. This is your opportunity to book a call. It will be 15 minutes to half an hour where we can book a call. I can help you with this stuff, so that if you do have any questions, particularly those, I pick this time frame because it suits me. I know that it doesn't suit everyone. I know I've got a bunch of people in Dubai at the moment. I think it's like 5 a.m. for you guys, so I'm not seeing any of you here. So use me while you've got this opportunity. I'll be emailing you out the link to book that call if you do want to chat one-on-one, so that you can have these questions answered. It's too important not to get. Totally too important not to get. Okay, so that's what we talked about yesterday, was expanding the vision beyond the vision. And a lot of your blocks will actually, the blocks that come from a place of fear that this is too big, this will have just blown your mind and put your next goal into proportion. Okay, so today we're talking about alignment, and in order to talk about alignment, we really need to talk about, first of all, what it is that is throwing you out of alignment. Now, alignment is any time that your vision and your goals and your values are all lined up and the obstacles have been removed. Okay, that is really what it is. I know people often talk about alignment online, but they kind of don't actually define what that is. And I find that quite frustrating, because I think everyone has this different version of what alignment actually is. And so this is part of why having a vision and having a goal is so important. Okay, it's really hard to be in alignment or to actually be able to like self-evaluate and to check off when you don't have a goal, okay? Because if you don't have something, if you don't have the opportunity to work out where your resistance is, you'll just be kind of floating in the ether and things will happen. Some of them will be good, some of them will be bad, but there's no real direction to be able to work out, am I in alignment? And also, I've never met anybody that in their heart of hearts doesn't have a vision. I've met heaps of people that have subordinated and feel too overwhelmed to actually acknowledge it. That's a different thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about resistance. And resistance comes from two places, okay? The first place that it comes from is stress. And the second place that it comes from is belief systems. Now, I'm just going to pull my old trusty whiteboard over here. Now, let's talk about stress, first of all. Those that have heard me chat, you will have seen this diagram before, but a great refresher. You know that I love this diagram. So, understanding what your values are. And when I talk about values, I talk about knowing what it is that is the most important thing to you. The most important thing will also bring you the greatest level of satisfaction and fulfillment in your life. Okay, so check off, if you like, check off what your values are. Like, jot down what are the top 3 areas in your life that are the most important areas to you right now. These are your values. Okay, if last night you wrote a vision down and it is not in alignment with those, check off what's off. Are you not quite on the money with your values, or are you not quite on the money with your vision? Those two things absolutely with certainty need to be in alignment for you to achieve the next step. Now, in the mastermind group that's coming up, I go through and ensure that your values and your vision are in alignment. But most importantly, if they're not quite in alignment, but this is something that this is still a goal that you do want to go for, I have techniques whereby we can link them so that you are still inspired to create this vision. Because if you're not inspired to get up and you don't feel energized each day when you sit down to start working on this vision, there's a really, really high chance that you will fall into procrastination. Procrastination is a form of resistance. If you are procrastinating, it means that something is not quite right here and we need to do some work on it. It doesn't mean we need to change your vision. Not necessarily. We might need to adjust it a little bit, but procrastination is a sign that there's something that we haven't quite got things in alignment. So if you've ever noticed yourself, particularly those people that work from home, I fall into that category. So it's really easy to know, like when you work from home, does anyone else experience that? When you work from home, it's really easy to procrastinate. So it's even more imperative that you are crystal clear if you're going to move forward. But it's a great tool. Use it as a tool rather than beating yourself up and going, oh no, I'm procrastinating. Use it for what it's there for. It's just a little marker, just a little flag waving at you going, hang on a sec, something's not quite right here. Okay, so when we're coming into, we all have a mind. I hope we all do anyway. We all have a vision. We all have highest values, and our vision, we want that to be in alignment with our highest values. Okay, so these two things interact. Okay, and we also have low values that are down here. So we focus on the things that are of highest value to us. We want to build our vision around or recognize our vision around what is in our highest values, okay? We are maximizing our opportunity of being able to get in the zone of this just feeling really right and purposeful for us, and also living a life with greater satisfaction. Now, where stress comes in is stress will throw us out of alignment if we don't know how to maneuver it to our greatest advantage. Okay, so you might want to write that down. Stress will throw us out of alignment if we don't know how to maneuver it to our greatest advantage. Just so happens, I'm about to share that with you, because I want to bust the myth. We are never going to blow stress. We're never going to delete stress from our life. But what we are going to do is we're going to change our perception of it. This is how. Okay, so stress, those lines there are our perceptions. Whenever we perceive something supporting our values, we get infatuated with it. when we're at a 1-to-1 ratio, we're looking at our vision and our world, and we're seeing that there will be obstacles and challenges. There will be things that go our way. Whatever it is, I'm confident that I'm moving forward in this direction. When we start to infatuate with someone or something, we start to get out of balance. We start to, and have you ever done that? Have you ever had a business opportunity or, you know, a job offer? I'm using these examples because this is high in my values. But have you ever had something like that come along where you've just seen the upside? You've, you know, maybe, you know, a new business venture, a new job opportunity where you've just seen the upside, and you are completely blind to a downside. You're just seeing that this is just going, you know, this is my ticket out of here. This is going to be amazing. Whenever you see people, you know, promoting get rich quick schemes, they're really appealing to this. They're just showing you one side. They're not showing you the other side. So as we get more and more polarized, we become, and our ratio, so up here, our ratio, down there, we're balanced. 2-to-1, we're seeing 2 benefits to 1 drawback, 3 benefits to 1 drawback, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 7-to-1. By the time you're in 7-to-1, your natural intuition is not going to be working very effectively at all. In fact, if you're at a 7-to-1 ratio, you'll require help from someone to help you get back to the center. I don't go beyond that, because then we're starting to get into the realms of sort of, you know, bipolar and schizophrenia, which is an unbalanced mind. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, so then when we're starting to see something as, and on the flip side, have you ever then seen an opportunity and you're like, this is a total scam. I can't believe that they're trying to, you know, that they're presenting this as being a good thing. And that's when you're really, or you've gone down that path of something you thought was going to be really, really amazing and it hasn't worked out. This is where you start to see the downside. Okay, and this is where our mind goes the other way. So we've got, you know, 1 benefit to 2 drawbacks, 1 benefit to 3 drawbacks, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6. 1 to 7. That's when you sign the contract. That's when you try to exit the contract. Okay, that's it. So that's really what it looks like. I mean, in our relationships, that's when you first meet your partner. That's the breakup. But in actuality, we have we have access to the full quantum. Nothing is either good nor bad until we judge it to be so. So in reality, we have access to this full quantum. However, our perception just focuses on one side, okay? Just because we're perceiving and we're focusing through our awareness on one side, it doesn't mean that we don't have access to the full quantum. Anytime that you are experiencing just one side, whether it be up or down, you will experience stress. You will experience stress. Okay, now this for some people might be a bit of you might be a bit confused right now, because you're thinking, what, up here when I'm excited, when I'm infatuated, is that a form of stress? Yes it is, but it's not one that we generally do anything about, but it is still a form of stress, because we've got a lopsided perception. To the degree that you have a fantasy up here, you'll have a nightmare down here, and they're both going to keep you awake at night. They're both going to keep you awake at night. Now, the other thing as well is when our perceptions are out here, our body is down here. Oh, you know, our body is just such an amazing tool. You know, like if you are somebody that's very in tune with your physical body and what's going on, use it as a tool to really start evaluating things, because when things are off, you'll be sending mixed signals. You'll be sending mixed signals to your body. And given enough time, given enough imbalanced perceptions and the experience of emotions, your body will start to break down. So if you are experiencing any signs and symptoms, any physical signs and symptoms in your body, it is a sign to let you know that you are not congruent with your vision. What an amazing system this is. Your body is actually designed to get sick if you are not congruent with your vision. Like, that is just phenomenal. That blows my mind, because every system in the universe wants you to get this, like so badly wants you to get this. When you are congruent, you will be sending congruent signals back and forth to your body, and your body, and this is well-being. It doesn't matter how much you meditate, how many green smoothies you drink, how many walks you go for, how much you care for your physical body. If you're not caring for your mind in conjunction, you will still experience physical signs and symptoms. There, I said it. Okay, So that's, I really need everyone. I don't need, I would love you all to really hear this. So this is why knowing, like, having the courage to step forward in your vision is your greatest opportunity to get to well-being. When you are in misalignment and when you're experiencing life as being challenging or overly supportive, this is also a form of stress. If you're over supported, you'll get very bored. And if you're over challenged, you'll get burnout, okay? And both are not conducive to your body being in a state of well-being. And they're also not conducive to you actually moving forward with your vision. What we require is a nice balance of support and challenge in order for us to, we need support so that we feel, supported in our vision, but we also need challenge sometimes as well. We need sometimes for someone to put a rocket up us or circumstances to help us move forward. We need that balance. Now, the balance is not what happens externally. The balance is an internal game. The balance is absolutely an internal game. Because if you're right now perceiving that you've got too much challenge, there's a really quick way that we can change that for you. And that is, whatever's going on, asking yourself, why would I have created this? And how is this actually serving me? Okay, so this diagram here is care of Dr. John Demartini, and that's one of his questions that he gets. I'm one of his facilitators, and that's one of his main questions that he gets us to ask. There's about 50 questions that he has to help people balance their perceptions. That's probably my favorite. So that's something that you can journal on to bring your perceptions. But also, when you do notice that you're up here and you're really infatuated, it's the same thing. Bring yourself back to the center. Be able to see the full quantum in order to make an evaluated decision. And that is by asking yourself, how is this actually a drawback to me? And that will have the same effect. So this is how we use stress to our advantage. Because when we can start seeing our obstacles as being on the way, not in the way, all of a sudden we don't need to avoid them anymore. We're not trying to run away from them. Because, by the way, this system is always going to be in balance. To the degree that you're up here, you'll also have another part of your mind that's down here. And for many people, when I see them, when they first come into my mastermind program, and certainly me when I first started this work as well, is that the majority of the population spends their mind just oscillates back and forth, in between a fantasy and a reality. They're seeking a fantasy, they're living a reality that's down here and quite challenging, and they're never actually realizing the vision in the middle. Now, when you are in this is revolution. And when your mind is going back and forth, it is exhausting, okay? Has anyone ever had that experience where they just felt like their mind is just like going back and forth? It's kind of like watching TV and running back and forth, like in your lounge room. It's hard to focus on what's truly important to you. It's hard to focus on the screen. We use the TV as the vision. Did I just do that? TV's not the vision. It's the procrastination, everyone. So when you're doing this, when you're in revolution, it's going to be really hard to see the leaves from the trees. It's challenging then to pull this back. But the very first step, if you are in that stressful place right now, the very first step before you can really, really master this is to start bringing these perceptions back to the center. Bringing these back to the center so that you can be in a 1-in-1 ratio and you can actually move forward with certainty. Okay. This is what's important here. Okay, so that's when it comes to stress. Stress is one of the things that you can, and stress causes all sorts of things. It causes fear. It causes self-doubt, particularly if you're used to the New Age mantra of if it's meant to be, it will all work out. Stress will start getting you to play tricks on your mind and say, oh, well, it's not meant to happen because everything's so stressful. No, not necessarily. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. And what I mean by that, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I don't mean charging ahead and doing more. I mean, if it's meant to be, do the mindset work, clear out the stressful things within your own mind, and then make the decision, is this meant to be? Is this truly congruent with me? So many discoveries, so many self-discoveries about what's true and authentic for you are found within this diagram. So much. If you want to know more, please, you've got a few days to book a call with me, so don't let that opportunity pass you by. Okay, the second obstacle that could be getting in your way, the second biggest obstacle is belief systems. You know, belief systems, and not just belief systems, limiting belief systems. Now, limiting belief systems can come from two places. They can come from past stressful events, which is where we refer back to this diagram. And then, so if that's the case for you, if you've had some past trauma, that internally in your mind, you either do two things. You either relive it or you try to block it out. Trying to block it out is actually a form of reliving it. But if you're doing either of those things, it is distracting you from your vision. We need to go back and address that and actually clear. And I don't just mean address it. If you've seen a counsellor or a psychologist and you've talked and talked and talked and found like you got nowhere, that's because they weren't using this model. And until challenge and support feels equal to you, you will stay in a revolution. We're looking for evolution here. We're looking for you to evolve forward and actually start realizing and living your dreams. That's what this challenge is all about. So your limiting beliefs can come from a past traumatic event where you started to believe something different about the world. And the thing about belief systems is that they really are self-fulfilling prophecy. In any given moment, you have access to 3 billion bits of information. So if you were consciously taking that all in, that would blow your mind, because what you are consciously processing is around 40 bits of information. So the difference between 40 and 3 billion is reasonably significant. What that tells us is, like when I first heard this statistic, and that's from Dr. Joe Dispenza, it was, first of all, I couldn't even get my head around those numbers because they're so vastly different. But it gave me just this beautiful, I just had this beautiful feeling wash over me, because when I recognized this, I went, I've got the power to rewrite my story. I have access to 3 billion bits of information, and I'm creating a story based on 40. So that means that there's more information in my awareness that I can rewrite my story to mean anything that I need it to in order for me to realize my vision. And some people at this point, might think, well, isn't that delusional? If you've got access to 3 billion bits of information, but you're only focusing on 40, it's kind of delusional anyway. The closer that we can get to the center, the more this is actually, the more that this is reality, because this is what's fulfilling and real for you. Delusion is really any time that we're up here or down there. Okay, if we're only seeing one side of the quantum, if we're not seeing the full spectrum, that's really what's delusional. So our belief systems, the other place that they have generally come from is that's just the way that we saw the world growing up. Okay, so many of our, now this is quite interesting, from ages 0 to 6, really what we're doing is we are just building neurons. We have no filter system, and our brain waves are going at such a slow rate that it's the equivalent of our adult mind being in a very deep meditation. Okay, if you had been mastering meditation over years, you would be able to slow your brain waves down. A very skilled hypnotherapist will be able to do that, because when your brain waves are slow, you're very impressionable. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was looking for a hypnotherapist, I would be wanting to know exactly what they were putting into my mind. I would be very, very clear on making sure that they were someone that was very skilled, and I would want to know exactly what the words were that they were using. However, when we are children, we are at the mercy of our friends and our family, predominantly our family and our parents, or whoever our caregivers are. Now, I don't know about you. If I was looking for a hypnotherapist, with certainty I can say I would not choose my mum and dad. But essentially that's what we've done. Okay, so essentially that's what we've done, because so many of our belief systems we've taken on board from our parents in those very young early years of 0 to 6, or whoever your primary caregiver was. So the first place that we look for with beliefs is we look for what was that environment that I was growing up in, and what were my parents' beliefs. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve right now, one place that I often look for with people is what did their parents believe about success? What did their parents believe about money? What did their parents believe about the world? Okay, and this is a really great place to start. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. Okay, and you might want to write that down. A belief system is just a thought that you keep on thinking. That's all it is. So once we really understand this, that it's just a thought process that we keep on thinking, we can then do something about it. Okay, it doesn't necessarily need to be the way that the world is. But the thing is about beliefs is when you believe it, you will be scanning your environment looking for evidence that supports it. So if you have a limiting belief about money, that money doesn't grow on trees, or, you know, like money is the root of all evil, you will constantly be scanning your environment looking for people that support that, and looking for evidence that supports that and scenes that support that. And that's just how it is. When you change that belief, you will start seeing the opposite. And all of a sudden, it's all self-fulfilling prophecy. So right now, if you scan your external environment and things are not the way that you would love them to be, I know that it is all a reflection. So whatever it doesn't feel congruent, doesn't feel good to you in your external environment, it's just a reflection of the internal game and what's happening for you here. Okay. Do we have... before I just quickly move on, we're almost finished for today. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? No, let me know if you do. If you think of anything that you'd like to know more on, you're probably all just sitting here and just, trying to absorb all of that. Okay, so how do we remove these obstacles? The very first step is that we need to identify what they are. Okay, the very first thing that you can do is step number 1 is if there's something stressful in your life, ask yourself, how is this actually serving me? Ask yourself, why would I have attracted this into my life? Because I'm yet to find anybody that goes through a significant stressful situation that it isn't a massive opportunity for growth and understanding in disguise. So that is one of the questions that you can ask yourself. When it comes to belief systems, this is what I would love you, and this is tonight's challenge, is to journal on what are 3 positive beliefs that I have about success, and just jot them down. And then ask yourself, what are 3 negative beliefs that I have about my success, or what it is that I'm looking to achieve in 2019. Get clear on that. And then very, very simply, I just want you to start asking yourself the question, why? Why would I believe this? Where did this actually come from? And what would I need to believe? What would I need to believe in order to transform this? So for some of you, there might be a couple of pages worth of work, worth of journaling there. For others, it might be, 10 pages. Don't put a cap on it. Just keep going until you really have an understanding of where this has come from. We cannot change things at the same level of thinking that we were at when we created it. And many of these beliefs have just been there since you were a small kid. Up until ages 0 and 6, we don't do any pruning. Did you know that a 6-year-old has more neural connections in their brain than a 12-year-old? Because the pruning stage doesn't start between 6 and 12. That's when the serious pruning starts to happen. So that's I find that quite fascinating. We're just little sponges. We take it all in. We have no ability to discern what's true for us and what's not true. We just take it all in as if it's all truth. So there will be belief systems that come from those very, very early days, or they may have come from somewhere else. But find out where that very original first seed was planted within your mind. Then we can do something about it. So in our mastermind program, which is coming up, that starts. I think we start that in about 3 weeks. I personally go through this one-on-one with everyone. I make sure that you all get this. Okay, it is far too important. And we have a lot of we have a lot of coaching calls where you have the opportunity to just constantly be clearing out your resistance. Okay, so you have that opportunity this week. But the other thing that I really want everyone to understand is that you don't just do this once and then it's done. Okay, make a commitment that you will commit to constantly clearing out your resistance, constantly clearing out the resistance and the obstacles. Because as you keep going and aiming for bigger goals and a bigger vision, you will get the next layer of resistance. It's like we don't just go to the gym once and go, great, I'm fit now. I've done that. Or you don't just eat one apple and go, great, you know, I'm healthy for 2019. No, it's something that we continuously work on. So the questions that I've given you here are an excellent starting point. These are really, really, if you delve deep into them, these are a great base for you to actually move forward and start clearing out that resistance. So what are we going to be? So that is tonight's challenge. You will be sent that out with the replay. And also, what are we doing tomorrow? So tomorrow, day 3 is when we really start to delve into how to bring this into a practical sense, how to be in the world, how to actually take action that is congruent and in alignment. And this is possibly the most important step. For those that are like really into personal development and mindset work, it is so easy to get caught in these first 2 steps because they're really quite fun. But without actually taking action, nothing is going to manifest, okay? It's a smaller, like the first 2 steps are laying the foundation. You can't just start taking action until you've set that foundation, but those 3 things must come together, okay? You must be actually willing to make changes in your physical world and through your actions in order for things to change, okay? If we just keep doing what we're doing, we will have the same results. So tomorrow is very, very, very important. Please make sure that you show up or catch us on the replay. And that's it for me for today, but I will just stay on the line. Does anyone have any questions before we go? Or are you all good? No, we're all good. Okay, fabulous. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye.